Hello everybody, welcome to Halfspin, where we talk about the sport of knife throwing. Today I got something really exciting to talk about, the AceJet Bo-Shurikens. We have all three models with us. We have the Barracuda, the Cobra, and the Lizard. I will be comparing all three, talking about which one is good for what type of throwing, which one you might want to buy, and then we'll compare them to the Stinger, which is AceJet's most famous knife, and see which one's better, a Bo-Shuriken or a throwing knife. All right, let's do it. So first off, what is a Bo-Shuriken? So a Bo-Shuriken is a throwing spike. Now, these AceJet Bo-Shurikens are larger than most that you'll find. Most Bo-Shurikens you'll find will be around maybe 5 inches. They'll be probably half this size. These are quite large. They're 12 inches and they're thick. They're 10 millimeters thick, so they have some good weight to them. I'll say I'm not usually a fan of Bo-Shurikens just because they're usually too light for me, a little too small, but these Bo-Shurikens by AceJet are great because they're so large and heavy, and so I actually enjoyed throwing these. So for first impressions, I thought it'd be fun to grab a friend who normally doesn't throw AceJet throwing knives. He normally just throws his Smith & Wesson Bullseye knives. And so he doesn't really have a comparison when it comes to the other AceJet throwing knives. So we met up, I gave him these Bo-Shurikens and checked out what he thought. Then for comparison, I gave him an AceJet Stinger just because I wanted to see what he would think between a normal AceJet throwing knife and these Bo-Shurikens.
Okay. Ooh. I like this Stinger. I like the Stinger. It feels like an all-around good throwing knife. Whereas the Barracuda, maybe if you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit longer, it's pretty fun to throw as well.
So if this is your first AceJet knife, which one would you recommend?
I'd go for the Stinger.
Yeah, all right.
Barracuda. Cobra. That hits hard. Lizard.
One thing to keep in mind with the Bo-Shurikens from AceJet is that because they're 12 inches, when you're doing rotational throwing, if you already have one in the target, there's a good chance that they'll hit each other just because it's so long and it's swinging over into the target. So they're a little bit hard to stack compared to a smaller throwing knife. So let's talk about the difference between the three. So this one is the Barracuda. This is the one that most traditionally looks like a Bo-Shuriken, like a throwing spike. It is simple, it is just a long, heavy piece of steel, and it is fun to throw. When it came to throwing, I found the Barracuda to be the best at most throwing styles. It was also the easiest to throw. I hardly missed with the Barracuda, where I had a little bit of struggle with the other Bo-Shurikens. When you hold this, it just feels cool. It is this 12 inches of just steel that you want to throw into a target. The Barracuda was great for half spin. It was good for full spin. No spin worked really well. Now, when it comes to military half spin, I feel like the point is just a little bit too thin to get a good grip on it for military half spin. So I wouldn't really throw military half spin with the Barracuda, but definitely half spin, full spin, and for sure no spin on it. Next up is the Lizard. I think aesthetically, the Lizard is the coolest looking of the Bo-Shurikens. It's a really pretty knife. The style of it is really cool. If you like throwing daggers or boot knives, this would definitely fit that profile. The Lizard also threw well half spin, full spin, and no spin. It does have a little shelf here, so if you got long fingers, you might be hitting that when you go to throw no spin. I think the Barracuda was better for no spin, but I was able to do no spin pretty well with the Lizard. So the Lizard threw all styles well, but the Barracuda throws all styles better than the Lizard. So if you're gonna choose between the Barracuda and the Lizard, I would choose the Barracuda if you're just going for throwing. If you want something that's gonna stick better in the target, if you want something that's gonna throw well, go with the Barracuda. If you want something that's more like a Bo-Shuriken, go with the Barracuda. The reason you'd choose the Lizard, I think, would be because of looks. It looks cool. I mean, this is just a really cool looking throwing spike. It's not so much a Bo-Shuriken just because of this distinct handle, and it throws well. Barracuda throws a little bit better, but this looks really cool. So if you're trying to decide between these two, if you really like the dagger style and the looks of the Lizard, go with the Lizard. If you want just for throwing ability, go with the Barracuda. Next up, we got the Cobra. And so the Cobra has this wider, heavier head on it, or blade on it, and that causes it to throw a little bit different than the other two. I found the Cobra a little bit more difficult to throw than the Barracuda and the Lizard just because of this bulbous kind of head that it has. If I wanted to throw half spin, I would have to put my thumb to the side, which is not a problem. But if I wanted to put my thumb on the back, on the spine of it, I felt obligated to kind of put it here on this slope, and that kind of got in the way of my throwing style. So I'd have to throw more of a handshake grip if I wanted to throw it half spin. Full spin also, it's weighted a little bit differently than the others, and it took me a little bit to get used to throwing this full spin. Also the same thing for no spin. Because it's weighted at the front, it's a little bit different than what I'm used to throwing. I'm usually used to throwing a little bit of a handle heavy knife for no spin. And so the Cobra took me a little bit to get used to throwing. It was a little bit different than the Barracuda and the Lizard. Let's try some no spin. Now, where the Cobra shined was military half spin. Because it has this bulbous head on it, it fit my thumb really nicely. And so for military half spin, it was phenomenal. And so why would you get the Cobra? Well, if you like to throw military half spin, definitely get the Cobra, because the Lizard and the Barracuda, the point on them is just too thin to do military half spin comfortably. But the Cobra was great for military half spin. So here's the thing. The AceJet Bo-Shurikens are a blast to throw. I have fun throwing them. They're cool, they're large, they're heavy, and they're a blast to stick into the target. If you're interested in getting one of these, which one do you get? Well, if you just want a really good thrower, go for the Barracuda. If you want something that looks cool and is also good for throwing, get the Lizard. If you want to do military half spin, I would say get the Cobra. Other than that, I think the Barracuda and the Lizard throw better than the Cobra, but that's just me. But when it comes to military half spin, the Cobra outperforms the other two. So hopefully that gives you kind of an idea of which one you'd want to choose, because buying all three is a bit much. So now to give you an idea between an AceJet Bo-Shuriken and the AceJet Stinger, here you can kind of see the size difference between the two of them. The AceJet Stinger is a throwing knife, and of course the Barracuda is the Bo-Shuriken. Now, if you're looking to get your first AceJet throwing knife, I would not recommend getting one of the Bo-Shurikens. I would definitely get a Stinger or a Fin or even an Excalibur. I would get one of their more popular throwing knives just to see what AceJet is all about. I mean, the Stinger shines at most throwing styles. It is fun. You can really hone and learn your throwing skills with the AceJet Stinger, where I think the Bo-Shurikens are more for somebody that already has throwing knives and wants something different. They want something really fun to throw, but they already have some throwing knives. So if you're looking for your first AceJet throwing knife, definitely get the Stinger over a Bo-Shuriken. But if you already have some AceJet throwing knives, the Bo-Shurikens are fun. This is a large, long, heavy, fun throwing spike, and so it's a blast to throw. So what's my overall impression on the Bo-Shurikens? Well, they are solid, well made, they're thick, the points on them is fantastic. Would I buy them again? Yeah, I would buy a Barracuda, I would buy the Lizard. I probably wouldn't buy the Cobra. These will not be my everyday throwing knives. This is something that's really fun to bring out on occasion. And so they are a blast to throw. But like I said, I wouldn't make these my everyday throwers. I have great throwing knives for that. I really enjoy some of the other AceJet throwing knives for everyday throwers, but this is something that's really fun that I'm gonna take out on occasion. Do I need 3 of each one? Probably not. I think if I was to do over again, I would see if I could buy just 1 Lizard and 1 Barracuda, and that's kind of all I need just to play around and have fun. But if I start to really enjoy them and take them out more, then yeah, definitely I'd want 3 of each. What I really want to try, and I didn't get to try much of, is long distance throws with these. Because of their length and their weight, I really want to try some long distance throwing with them. And that might be another place where they shine. I might really enjoy these once I start some long distance throwing. But overall, well built, great points on them, and a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something different that you want to have fun with, definitely go for the AceJet Bo-Shurikens, but not really an everyday thrower. Recommendations to AceJet: sell these individually. Let people have a chance of buying 1 of each. So someone can buy a Barracuda, a Lizard, and a Cobra so they can try all 3. Or maybe they just want 1 to have some fun with. Maybe just pick up 1 Barracuda or 1 Lizard to go have a good time with. Hopefully I answered any questions you might have about the new AceJet Bo-Shurikens. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.